Hey, welcome to the Lumiere channel. So I've been talking about this for ages, and welcome to the Lumiere channel. I've been talking about this for ages. This video is about one of my helpers, the Enchanted map oracle cards by Colette Baron Reed. This isn't a review of them. This is just about how we met and how our relationship developed and how, like, where we're at. It's just me basically telling you about my really close friend who tells me what I need to know about myself and helps me check myself before I wreck myself, and helps me help you check yourself before you wreck yourself, because sometimes we're really about to wreck ourselves, and it's nice to have that friend that can tell you, like, look, you need to sit the fuck down. So how we met. I was getting the pull to get cards. I was in the midst of my spiritual awakening, my massive thing. There was a point where I really hit break, and I got really close to my highest self, yeah, during meditations and things like that. And these two cards I'm going to talk about during meditations and things like that. And so it was awesome because my higher self and I were hanging out, just doing healing work on myself and my shadow and just spending time with me, getting to know me, being thirsty for me. And it was awesome for a really, it was powerful. I was getting used to my physical sensations of when my higher self was, like, around, or when I was getting nudges to do certain things, like, really just honing my intuition as it's connected to, like, my highest self, right? So then something happened one day. Hold on, I have to, one of my sensations is heat. I feel heat when my, highest self is kind of around. It's a different type of heat from, embarrassment heat. When you get embarrassed and your body gets hot, it's kind of like that, but, different, because I'm not embarrassed. It's just kind of this, my body gets this, I guess, a hot flash, but I'm not of age to have hot flashes, and yeah, I know it's my guidance, because it's typically when I'm, doing something or not doing something and I need to be doing something. It's my guidance, so I need to open a window, because it's momentary, but I probably need the window open. So something I can explain is, while doing a reading, there was a time, recently, yesterday actually, I was doing a reading, and I felt heat, and I wasn't looking at my camera. I felt heat. I flipped over the cards that fell over, and I was like, okay, I guess they mean something. I went to check the camera to see if the cards were in frame, and I noticed that that's when the camera stopped functioning. So if I hadn't had that heat sensation to flip the cards over and then check the camera, I wouldn't have checked the camera to see that the video had stopped recording, and I would have kept on going, talking about, whatever I was talking about. And would have lost all that footage, and it would have been really annoying, and, so it was a nice little, guidance things. Anyway, this is not about my intuition. This is about, well, it is, but not really. So anyway, these helpers, I got this, thing. I was like, man, I really want to buy. I started getting into, watching big card videos and, other type stuff, and I was like, I really want cards. I really want oracle cards. I really, really want oracle cards. I really want, angel cards, oracle cards. And so, fast forward, I was like, I'm just gonna go to Barnes & Noble. I'm gonna see what they have and just, see what happens. I knew in my heart I was gonna walk out of there with a card. I was gonna order online. I was like, no, let me just try and, see which one calls to me. So I'm in the Barnes & Noble, and I'm looking at, their divination tools. And I'm just like, okay, let's see. I'm checking out all these cards. There were some really cool decks, and I'm like, oh, this is awesome. A lot of them were tarot, and I'm like, no, I want like a divination tool that's not tarot. Like, I want, why the fuck did that happen? No, I turned you off. Sorry about that. I want like an oracle deck. And then I saw, some decks that were really nice, and I was like, okay, maybe. I saw this one, and I was like, looks messy. No. Started looking at others, but my eyes would keep going back to this. So my eyes keep going back to it, and I'm just like, okay, maybe I should give it, more than just like a discarding. It looks too much, but it looks cool. But it's like, no, map. No, I want like images. Like, I want images that have symbols, so I can really flex that intuitive muscle and really see there's just a story played out on the cards. Like, I really want that kind of thing. And I looked at the back, and then I saw her, and I was like, oh. And that was really like the oh that just took me over. I was like, oh, wow. So I was in the store, I was like looking up. I tried walking away from this deck. I tried like looking at other decks, but I kept going back to it, and I'm like, it just feels like it keeps calling me. And then I started like really like liking it, and I was like, I don't know. So then I googled it, right? I looked it up on YouTube, wanted to see some reviews, and then I was like, let me just see a little bit of the deck, and I was like, okay, whatever. Eventually ended up buying the deck, rushed to my car, and was in my car for a good while. Aha, this is the card I was hoping for. Come through, guys. Come freaking through. There's one more card I'm waiting to fall out. This is also one of those cards. Balance is like, whenever I see this card, I always think Libra, because of the balance and the scales of balance, and just like balance and equality and all that stuff. And since I'm a Libra, whenever I see this card, I'm always like, oh, like Libra, like I gotta maintain my balance and things like that. But anyway, there you are. That's not the one I was waiting for, but I'm sure she'll come visit when she's ready. Anyway, I got in the car, I'm reading the guidebook, really just excited, like we were excited to be together, and nervous, and XYZ, and then, I think I read through the cards. I don't remember if I shuffled them or what, but I asked the cards, I was like, okay, like I've never done this before, what, like, I'm like, no, it knows my heart, I'm like, I'm nervous, like, I don't know, did I do the right thing? Like, did I do the right thing? Like, just, did I do the right thing? So I, like, shuffle my cards, or something happened, but this card slipped out, you guys. The home card. And it was just the biggest, like, confirmation ever. And this deck has given me lots of confirmation. My newest, Oracle deck, straight up Oracle deck, Angel deck, Oracle deck also has it's so good, it's so savage. I can't wait for you guys to meet it. It's gonna be a while because it's so savage, like I need to take my time learning it so that I just need to be able to break down its messages so that people don't hunt me down being like, you told me that I had da 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 da, and it's like, well, you needed to hear that message. Anyway, this card slipped out, the home card, and I mean, you don't need to read no guidebook to realize that this card means, like, you're home, right? Like, I saw it and I was like, yeah, home. So I read the guidebook and I was like, yeah, I'm home. Like, it was just the most confirming, like, these tools and how your intuition and, like, what you need to know on your team, like, all that stuff, like, it just really comes together. So, this card has this very special place in my heart. Because it always like calms, it's like an instant calmer whenever I see it in the upright. Because I'm like, I'm home. It's like a little cute reminder of our first interaction together. Well, first actual interaction together. We were flirting with each other the whole time we were at the bookstore, but I didn't know we were flirting until it was too late. Without going into too much detail about what my highest self kind of like looks like and this that, and the other in my meditations, what came up, this for me, when I saw this card and I was like getting to know the cards, because you get to know your cards in the deck and try to like bond with them, and I haven't bonded as much with as many cards as I like. It's still a learning process. I still pull cards, I still learn them, I'm still getting to know certain cards, and reading for you all and private clients has really given me a certain new way to look at them, like how we've been playing together. I think it was the exact level I needed to get to know them in a different way outside of myself. But it's a really cool relationship. Anyway, this card, whenever I see this card, it really speaks about intuition, right? Because this girl reminds me of my highest self, because of her wings, actually. So yeah, and then come to look at the description, like the book and what it's about. It is about intuition. So it's really crazy how my journey and these cards and my newest oracle deck also just really are like huge. Just time doesn't matter in divinity, and like in what's yours is really gonna come to you in the, it's gonna leave breadcrumbs, and then when it comes together, you'll be like, oh, I was there all along, because it's so true. I don't know where we were, but I don't know where we were. This card is I don't know where we were, but this is where we are. This card kept poking up when I was about to make this channel, and I think it was a reminder that just be happy, and I was like, what do you mean? Why do you keep popping up? So I had to figure out what that meant, but it basically talks about, like, be happy. This card and I, we've bonded beautifully quite recently. She's awesome. She's crazy. She's cool. She never used to have a lot for me, but now she just tells an entire story to me. She's cool. She's my new friend. So this deck and I basically bonded with me pulling every day. Pulling, I love that, 2 roads. Pulling every day. Every day, getting guidance from it every day, because I couldn't feel, I was telling you that story, I couldn't feel my intuition anymore. I mean, I could, but it wasn't in the same way that it was. It was like my friend had moved away and they didn't have to another country, and they didn't have a phone yet or any way to communicate with me that was obvious. So I'm like, okay, well, what the hell? So I got cards to see if my communication could come through the cards as opposed to meditation, and it did, in a very clearer way, quicker way too, in a way. But my thing is to not have the cards as a crutch, to not use the cards as a crutch when it comes to using my own guidance. So sometimes I won't do, a thing for myself. I won't consult the cards necessarily. I won't consult my intuition through the cards. I'll just meditate and just really go within and see what my answer is naturally from my old way of just meditating, which was, I don't want to become one of those people who becomes a crutch on the cards. Now, when it comes to reading for other people, yeah, when it comes to a one-on-one kind of coaching conversation, it's all intuition. All intuition. How I prepare the cards, I've started doing that knocking thing. I can't help it now. I just do it. The cards, how they feel now, how they felt when they were bought was very, I don't even remember how they felt when they were bought, but these days they feel old, like they feel ancient, they feel so different, and they started feeling this way when I got the romance cards. Like the day I got my romance angels cards, these cards became 85 years old and feel like an old friend, old, delicate, wise, a shoulder to lean on, a lap to cry on. Like they just feel very ancient and ancient wisdom, and really just, it's, I don't even know how to explain it to you, but they just feel old and wise. It's really crazy. There she is. Hey, honey. In bonding with this deck and watching tarot videos, because I don't do tarot, I've tried to figure out what I know. Colette Baron Reed, she dabbles in tarot and is familiar with it, very familiar. She dabbles in like divination tools, but really likes oracle cards because they're freeform, and I like that too. The Bone Collector, that's what these cards feel like. Just this old feel, like they feel like this, this old lady, like your grandma who's like got your hand, she'll give it to you straight, but also be like, it's okay, honey, smells like patchouli, like just, cool. I love these cards. They feel like I have to really be delicate with them. I'm not sure if you see me shuffle them these days, but they really, they can't be rough housed. They're just old. They feel so good. I love these two. This I've been trying to figure out, right? Like, and sometimes it'll just come to me. So the more I get to know these cards, the more intimate we become, and the more they show up in certain readings with people, I realize that a lot of these cards, some of them rather, are related to tarot. They have certain tarot meanings. Why do I bring that up? This card, Unexpected Visitors, to me feels like, this is actually my most latest revelation. This card is the almost equivalent of the Tower card. So, yes, it's like like the Tower card, like a soft Tower card. The energy feels strong with this one when the magical map shifter shows up. Then I'm like, straight up Tower moment. Like, there's going to be in reverse, like this in reverse, and that, and the magical map shifter somewhere on the round is like definitely like Tower energy. I also got her a lot the first few times I got this deck. She was the first one that I got to know, and I was like, what are you even saying? It says spark, but she looks so sad, and I'm like, I don't get why. So, how does this deck play well with the other decks? Now, the other decks so far are another oracle deck by the same author, so that plays really nicely with the other one because I can see the parallels. It's definitely the same author. So I'm very used to her language. I don't use any other oracle decks. Oh, why I picked this deck too, what I really wanted in a deck was one that had reverse meanings, because life is full of light and shadow. Angel cards that say, oh, la 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 la, like, it's cool, but I like having a reverse option. So with these, I really, really, really wanted an oracle deck that has reverse meanings to it. So as far as I'm concerned, any oracle deck I ever get, at least from my standpoint, I want it to have reverse meanings. And the other oracle deck I got was also had reverse meaning, and it's by the same author. And if you've had a private reading from me lately, you've seen the other deck, because I may have pulled from there to get a little bit more guidance and final words on your situation, because those cards are savage and they tell it like it is. This card, as far as me talking about what the tarot equivalencies are, if this card is the Tower card, this card is 100% the Devil card. This is the Devil card. Like, this is the nicest little Devil card I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, I mean, as far as like Devil cards go, but then again, I'm not really versed in like Devil cards. I'm not versed in tarot. But this is, I love that it's 10. I don't know if the Devil was 10 in tarot. I think maybe not, but Rock Bottom talks about addiction. It talks about it talks about the same things that the Devil card talks about. This card in reverse or the other way, it doesn't fucking matter. It looks the same this way, this way, this way, this way. It's the same. I love that. Sometimes I don't understand her, but she's making a little bit more sense lately. Ghostland is also on the back of the cover. Encouragement is cute. I started getting this card towards the end of my, more so towards the beginning of creating this channel, which kind of marks the beginning of the end of my kind of, spiritual awakening, I guess, onto being just awakened. This card gives me the heebie-jeebies. I still, when I look at it, it's the one card in the deck that I'm like, oh god, why? But there's so much going on here. Sometimes that part, at the top looks like the Golden Palace. So I'll show you the Golden Palace. It'll come up if you've seen a reading. He also reminds me of the Wizard of Awareness, obviously. There's a cave here. We don't know what's on the behind. So it's interesting. It's also one of my, it sometimes can be a bit of a time card. Let's see what else. Overall, like, I really I adore these cards. Like, we really are close friends. The way things have become now with me and my intuition, me and my highest self, uses these cards and the language that we've developed with each other to, number one, inform these cards, and actually secondary to inform these cards, and number one, to guide me. So, like, I could be out in the streets and all of a sudden I'll see, like, the balancing act page or the coming apart page, card, and I'll be like, oh, like, this is what the situation is. So it's really interesting how this has really become a part of the language, because some of my languages that my guidance comes through is music, physical sensations, my own memories, just kind of thought whispers, asides, blah blah blah. So feelings, how I'm feeling towards the person asking me this question is like how they're something like that. So it's cool that the images of these cards will pop up in my head and I'll be like, oh yeah, like, okay, that's like the message that I'm receiving right now from my highest self. So it's really, really cool how they really become a part of my life. They play really nicely with the romance angels. The day I got my romance angels was one of the happiest days of my life lately. It was amazing. It was wonderful. Speaking of the Golden Palace, come through. You see, feels like that over there is the Golden Palace. Sometimes when I'm reading, depending on what I see and what's going on, I'll tune into certain aspects of the cards. Thank you. And the Metamorphosis to me is the Death card. This is the Death card. It hit me later. When this card I first saw this was when I first got this deck, this was one of the cards that kept showing up in every reading, and I was like, yeah, it's true, I am going through a change. I can only imagine what it would have been like for me if this was a tarot deck and I kept getting the Death card, Death card, Death card, Death card. So the Oracle cards are very gentle, as far as I'm concerned, imagery wise. They're very gentle. And it held me on to hope. I will say, though, that if I had known that this was the Death card earlier, I would like to think that would have helped, because the moral of my story was I had to die to myself in a very big way, which was a very small way, which was a very huge way. And Metamorphosis was just reminding me that, like, you're going through a change. And I was like, yeah, I am. And Deep Freeze was showing up saying, like, you gotta just, like, wait till spring. And Metamorphosis was like, ride the wave, boo. Like, ride the wave, you're transforming. Here she is. So this card reminds me of me, because I was born on the 12th. So whenever I see this card, I always think, oh, the message is definitely for me. When I'm reading for you all, not so much. But and this card reminds me of my twin flame. So when it came out the first time in a reading about him, it was around the time that we were starting to enter pre-union. So this was really exciting. I did not get the Wizard of Awareness, or I did and he was like in the upright position, but I don't think I did. I think I got this one and like whatever cards, and I was like, oh my god, this is awesome. So these cards, I mean, I reread them really well. Like, yeah, the commitment card is pretty cool. I read them pretty well. They at first the Goblin card is the same as the, now that I realize this is in reverse, coming apart, looks like a butterfly. Oh, she came up too. When I first got these cards, like I was saying earlier, they felt like I was being yelled at. Like, it really truly felt like I was being, like, just being yelled at, you know? Like, just always just being yelled at. And I'm not a fan of this guy at all. Just felt like I was being yelled at, but now it doesn't feel like that anymore. There are select cards that I'm like, oh no, like the magical map shifter, because I'm like, what do you want now, buddy? But he might be the tower card, honestly. Like, him and unexpected news is like the tower combo. So these days I don't really feel like they're yelling at me anymore. Definitely not. They feel gentle. I think it's because we've learned each other enough to understand each other. Here's the deep freeze card I was talking about. I kept getting this card and it was just like, you need to chill out. Like, you're not going anywhere. To find something else to do because things are not working out right now, and that's what's supposed to happen. Yeah, it did feel like I was being yelled at, to be honest with you, but now it's not so much. My new deck definitely is coming at me with a sharp tongue, okay? Like, the Oracle ain't playing with me, so I'm trying to learn it. That's gonna be a bit of a while, I believe. I'm trying to take the messages and learn it in the same way that I learned this one. As far as someone who's interested in this deck, or, you know, as like a fellow reader, it ages well, I'm gonna say. I feel like it ages well. I've had them for a couple of months now, and they just age well. They feel good. You have to be gentle with them in terms of, like, at least for me in my relationship with them, like, I'm gentle with them. Like, they feel like my old, like, they just feel old in, like, a way that you want to care for them. Like, I can't, like, be, like, they just say no. Like, they're like, no, be gentle. So, I don't know, the cards are very, we're really close in, like, a really good way. I don't know how to explain it. So it's really beautiful. And one of the last things is, when I started reading for YouTube, I started really having, when I got the Romance Angels and I started reading for YouTube, I started having kind of like dreams about card pullings and this, that, and the other. So a lot of maybe downloads or whatever in terms of what the cards, I couldn't tell you what they were about, but I know I was definitely dreaming about doing readings. So that was interesting. Not so much anymore, and not so much since I got this new deck. So I'd like to think that maybe the new deck was kind of priming me to get it, because after I got the Romance Angels, I was like, I'm done, no more decks, I'm good, this is all I ever need. And then I was like, I think I might be in the mood for, like, just one more deck. And then a week or so later, like 2 weeks later, I found the third deck that I'm currently learning now. So I can't wait to introduce to you the Romance Angels and how we met, because we have a very passionate love affair, the Romance Angels and I. And their introduction to my helper family really changed things for how I regard this deck and just how I play with a deck. Like, I mean, the Romance Angels, they don't have reversals. Here's a cameo. I'm sorry, Enchanted map. I know this is about you. The Romance Angels. Hey, honey. Oh, how cute is that? Ah! The Romance Angels do not have reversals. You see? So, you know that this card is a reversal. With these, you just kind of have to go by feeling. Oh, what feels right. So, even in the guidebook for the Romance Angels, there is no definition for a reversal. So, these cards really help me play well with the Romance Angels, and the Romance Angels play well with this message. And the Romance Angels, I mean, it's another video, obviously, about how we play, because I have to decipher what the message is, because Doreen Virtue was like, nah, y'all figure yourselves out. So that's all I really want to say. This is another really beautiful card, one of the first ones I was pulling to in the beginning, or one that I really liked to look at anyway. I don't know why I would ever pull this card. It was slow movement. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. If you want to have a private reading and see how these cards play with your own highest self and to see what guidance is coming through for you, I would be honored to be your the route your guidance gets to you. So make the choice, but do not choose not to choose. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate you, and I was about to say, in the name of Jesus Christ I pray. I appreciate you, and just reminding you to, you know, keep your light on, whatever's going on in your world. Be good to yourself, and good luck.